celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
And welcome to Animal Radio. The number's toll-free at 1-866-405-8405. You can also ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. And we're going to go to those phones in a couple of seconds for Dr. Debbie and for Joey Villani, the dog father. What is that? Is that a pigeon? Those pigeons are really loud.
I put some seed out there. I should have waited until after the show.
You know who's going to be on the show today is NBA's finest, John Salley. Of course, he played for the Lakers. And
I love him. He's such a cool, friendly guy.
You know what? It says right here on this piece of paper.
Is that his title?
Nice, friendly guy. John, nice, friendly guy, Salley, who's a vegan.
Wow.
Which is intriguing to me that as an NBA player that you could have a non-meat, non-dairy diet.
Wow.
I saw an interview show with him on TV a couple of years ago, but he's been vegan for a long time. And if I remember right, he's really active he's like a vegan activist. He's not just I eat plant-based protein.
He's not casual
you know what I mean?
about it. Yes. No, he talks about it.
Exactly.
And apparently a kitten lover. And he's hanging out with the kittens. We'll find out what all the details are in a few minutes with him. What were we going to say, Joey?
You know what I want to do? I want to hang out with a vegan to see how they eat. Because I think that's part of the problem is I don't know the whole what's good and what's not good. That's part of the problem. You know, you think about eating vegetables, I'm thinking of steamed spinach. You know what I'm saying? So I'd like to know what, I'm sure they got some good stuff that we just don't know about.
And I'm sure there's some creations that they can make putting different things together that are probably just awesome.
To be.
Yeah, it's not just singular.
There are vegan restaurants all over the country now, so you can, that's what I would love to do. I've never been to one, but just go to one of them and
see what's on the menu.
They make such great stuff.
Yeah. So there is a hassle factor associated with it. You have to sort of go out of your way to cook vegan.
Well, that's because we don't know how. You have to go out of your way to cook meat, but we know how, so it's not a problem. It's just learning something different.
Thank you, Judy. Put him right in his place.
Okay, so let's go to the phones. Joey, what are you working on for today's show?
Well, if you are allergic to your bird, which millions of people are, and they get rid of them, listen to me first before you make that drastic decision.
And you speak from experience, right?
Yes, and this has something to do with grooming as well. Yes, I speak from the heart because it happened to me.
Okay. Lori, what are you working on in the newsroom?
Well, there is one state that could become the very first in the nation or the country to pass a bill that would make declawing a cat illegal in the entire state.
Oh, wow.
And it's not California.
Really?
I was just going to guess. It has to be California.
Wow. Interesting to know. Of course, for those of you that don't know, declawing is like an amputation of the knuckle. And while may be very convenient for you and your furniture, is not entirely pleasant for the cat. Despite what anybody
I did some research for this story too, and we're going to look at how declawing actually came about. Who had that wild idea in the first place?
I'd like to meet him and give him a piece of my mind. Beaten. I'd like to amputate their knuckles
or something else. Okay, so that's on the way here with Lori Brooks in just a few minutes. Let's head to the phones for your calls with Dr. Debbie and Joey Villani, and we go to Marty. Hey, Marty, how are you? Oh, Mary? I'm sorry. Hey, Mary, how are you?
Okay.
I couldn't read the board. I'm getting too old. My vision is failing fast.
Well, don't feel like the Lone Ranger.
Where are you calling from today, Mary?
Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, listening on WFNC. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's see. You want to talk to Dr. Debbie?
Well, here I am. I'm all yours. What's going on?
We've got a 1.5-year-old dachshund. I think she's a dachshund. She might be mixed with a little bit of Chihuahua.
Okay.
But she licks anybody and everybody as long as they let her.
Oh, okay. Licking just anywhere on the skin or clothing? Mm-hmm. Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Does she lick other things around the house? Floors, furniture? Does she lick the air?
Nope.
Just people. Okay. And when she's doing this, does she seem excited? Does she seem wound up?
No, very calm and loving.
I guess the other thing is, what are people doing when she's licking?
Either holding her or caressing her or just sitting beside her.
But as far as are they objecting to it? Are they giving her, they're yelling at her? What's the response that she gets from that?
No. You know, as long as you're near her, she's licking you. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. It's like she's just saying, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Yes. Well, so what you're describing could be a couple things. So there are definitely animals that lick excessively for behavioral reasons as well as medical reasons. And it can be challenging to just say what your pet situation is. But the first thing, when any time a dog is excessively licking humans that I look at, is I look at two things. Things that could be involving our skin, that could be an attractant. Creams, any kind of sweat smells, people who are diabetic, things like that can actually attract a dog to licking our skin surface. The other thing that I look at is really the human response in this. If we approach that and we are giving her positive feedback and saying, oh, what a good girl you are. You're such a good girl, giving mama kisses. We are actually reasserting that you're doing the right thing. And we're actually conditioning her to keep doing this behavior because it's what we want her to do. So is it really a behavioral problem, or is it something that we have taught her that we like, and it's a way that we're showing affection within this doggy household?
Yeah, we kind of return it.
Mm-hmm. You lick your dog?
No.
I'm sorry. I just thought that's what you meant.
No, I got a granddaughter that might bite her back or lick her back or kiss her.
Oh, my. Okay. Well, and then there are certainly dogs that, this can be more of a pathology. So the excessive licking can be related to types of medical problems. So they can actually, and there's an interesting study, it was actually out of Canada quite some time ago, and they looked at dogs that excessively licked on surfaces. And what they found is in about 50% of the cases, these animals had some kinds of gastrointestinal disease. So they had things like inflammatory bowel disease, they had parasites, they had food allergies. And in 50% of the cases, they treated those medical problems and the symptoms went away. So for some of these situations, it might be wise to have a good conversation with your veterinarian and talk about, do we need to look at things like, could there be some kind of deficiency or some kind of GI problem that we need to investigate? Some of that may be simple things we can try, like diet, deworming treatments, types of antacids, things like that can be helpful. And I will say that there's also, the excessive lickers, that it's really an anxiety problem where they're licking just about anything and everything, and they do it to kind of self-soothe. And I don't know that any of these fit your dog situation. Sounds to me like you've got kind of a family bonding situation, and where licking has become part of the norm for her life.
I know. I had her first. I had a neighbor that gave her to me, and she stayed with me for a long time, and I kind of carried her around and slept with her and sat with her. And then I wasn't able to keep her anymore, so I gave her to my daughter. So you think it could be anxiety?
It's possible, and that's where her demeanor and how she behaves with that. Some tips as far as behaviorally, that if you're interested, and if this is something that you want to stop that behavior because it's becoming annoying and it's becoming hard to live with, would be basically we don't want to give rewards for that licking behavior. And rewards for a dog would be anything from speaking to her, telling her how good she is, or even yelling at her can be a form of a reward because you're giving attention to the behavior. So if we want to stop that, we take away any response to the behavior and we cease the physical contact. So we don't get to snuggle and love. You can't have snuggling and loving and then just saying, okay, stop the licking. You have to cease that contact altogether. And then we look for other ways to increase oral stimulation. And that might be things like the dog food dispensing toys, or even taking like types of dog toys and you stuff peanut butter in there and you freeze it and let them, lick that, work on that, and give them a kind of an outlet. Almost like a person trying to stop smoking, you want to give them something to do with their mouth other than licking the human or other things in the environment. So those kind of things can really help. Just to give them more of an outlet. Put the cigarette down and to look on a frozen dog toy if that helps you there.
So what you're suggesting is that when she starts to do it, to just do nothing?
I would suggest that we no longer hold her, snuggle her, that we put her down. Okay. She does something else. We take away all positive rewards from that behavior. And she can sit on your lap if she doesn't try to lick. If she's still trying to lick and you're just blocking her, you're not teaching her anything there. You're just kind of making it harder for her to do what she wants.
Okay, so when she starts it, just get away from her.
Yep, she goes down off your lap. And, if you have her kennel trained and it's something that she's comfortable with and it's not a form of punishment, you can put her in her kennel, give her a chew toy or one of the stuffed toys like I just mentioned, and give her something to do. But you have to be firmly established that this is something you do want to stop and to give her an alternate.
It's hard to do because she's so lovable.
It's not the worst problem I've heard of today, being licked to death, but...
But you know what? There is a serious side to this, and something that, we do have to mention. Many people, especially many women, may be on things like topical hormone creams. Uh-huh. And a pet that licks you excessively can actually acquire those creams and ingest that and develop a toxicity due to that. So it's important, not just licking, but if you do have a pet that, does a lot of licking of themselves even, and you use that kind of product at home, they can acquire a contact toxicity with that. So just something to keep in mind, have special situations out there.
Mary, thank you so much for your call today. We appreciate it.
And thank you.
Hey, this is Nicole Sullivan on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your pets, please.
Dogs gotta go potty, but sometimes work, traffic, or bad weather get in the way. Introducing Brilliant Pad, the self-cleaning potty pad that automatically replaces a soiled pad with a clean, fresh one. Brilliant Pad seals in waste, locks away odor, and is hands-off for weeks at a time. Then, disposal is fast, easy, and clean. Brilliant Pad gives you freedom and flexibility, so you don't have to rush home. You also spend less time cleaning and more time loving. Go to BrilliantPad.com today.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
It's Animal Radio. In just a few minutes, John Salley will be joining us. He, of course, the first NBA player to win 4 championships with 3 different franchises. And I don't know what the other franchise. I know L.A. Lakers. The L.A. Lakers are one of the franchises he did that for.
But Detroit too, wasn't it?
I think Detroit. Yes.
Detroit, yes. And Miami. Detroit and Miami.
Yes.
Why is he going to be on the show? You probably say, well, he's doing something with the Kittens on Hallmark Channel.
It has to do with basketball.
It has to do with basketball. Mm-hmm. And you know how the ladies just melt when there's a big buff guy who's holding a kitten.
He's a pro athlete.
He is also a vegan, too, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
He's like Mr. Sensitive.
Sensitive? He's sensitive?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He loves animals. Yeah.
You can be strong and sensitive, Hal. Don't give him a hard time.
Well, no. If someone called me Mr. Sensitive, I would not think that was a compliment whatsoever. But
really?
Yeah.
But if you look like this guy and they called you sensitive,
yeah,
that would be a compliment.
I don't look like this guy, and of course I don't have the career that he has. But he'll be on in just a few minutes. I understand the show that he's going to be hosting on the Hallmark Channel is up against the championship, basketball champs. So that I guess, well, there is competition. You could do the TV and TV, but I would imagine many of the male demographic will be watching the basketball championship, and then.
Oh no, I love basketball, but who doesn't like a funny cat video? And that's what that's going to be.
Well, they built the internet on cat videos.
Of course, that's why.
So, yeah, okay. So we'll find out more about that in just a few minutes, right here on Animal Radio. Lori, what are you working on for this hour in the old newsroom there?
Well, talking about sensitive guys, I got one for you. This guy, I mean, and you would, like macho fire guy, goes out on a hike, comes back with a blind big dog. on his shoulders. He's a hero, and I'll tell you the whole story coming up.
I should have been a fireman. Okay, that's on the way. Let's go to the phones for your calls. Toll free, 1-866-405-8405. Don't forget, you can also ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. How about we go to Diana? Hi, Diana. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
Good. Sounds like you're on the road.
Well, I'm in the Pasadena area, going from office to appointment.
Okay. Well, please drive carefully. I have Dr. Debbie here. What's going on with your pet?
Well, she has little bumps on her body. We did take her to a vet last year for teeth cleaning. She came out with a whole bunch of things later, like buying a whole new dog. Anyway, they did feel the little bumps and said they're probably fatty deposits. Does that sound right? They're not real hard, but a little hard, not very big.
How big is not very big? Give me like a coin size, a fruit size.
Less than a penny.
Okay, less than a penny. And where are they located
dime smaller, less than a dime size.
Okay, where are these masses located at?
On her, kind of her back, not, straight up back, but kind of side back, along her rib cage maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, certainly what you're describing could be possibly a fatty tumor or lipoma. And first thing I always like to start off with, when we talk about lumps and bumps, it's very rare that any veterinarian could put their fingers around a lump, squeeze it, feel it, move it around and say, you've got a sarcoma or you've got a fatty tumor. We cannot tell. And that is the honest truth. No veterinarian with superpowers can tell you what it is. I will tell you, though, there are some common traits that we do have with fatty tumors, and they don't all fit the same page, but they tend to be a little bit softer in nature, kind of a fatty consistency. They tend to be located what I describe as midline down. So if you look at a dog from the side and you draw a horizontal line from like their chest area to their rump, there's like that middle line. And anything below that, if it fits that consistency, I would say it's going to be suspect for being a fatty tumor. Not that fatty tumors can't happen up high on the body, but they're just less common. So for especially a Labrador, who is a breed that's highly predisposed to fatty tumors, the other being Doberman Pinschers. This is the other huge breed I see these in. So if I see a lot of these very similar looking masses, it very well may be different types of fatty tumors that we're having. But all that being said, I personally am of the school that I do like to poke these things, test them, and to find out more about what it could be composed. Because sometimes we will be surprised, and what we assume has been a fatty tumor for a long period of time can actually be something else we've just been neglecting. So that's where, working with your veterinarian on their index of suspicion. Now I'll tell you, I had an older Labrador at 13, and he was peppered with tumors. So we tested some of them. Others did not raise my clinical index, so I didn't necessarily poke every lump on him. He probably had about 20 of them on him by that point. Wow. So they can be quite prolific. The good thing is with fatty tumors, the good majority, and I'd say over 99% of them, tend to be benign. There is a less common form that's malignant called the liposarcoma. And then there's also another type that tends to be a benign lipoma, but it can find itself growing in weird locations, like in between the muscles of the thighs or underneath muscles and areas of the body. And they don't quite look and feel the same. So those are harder to know with confidence. So it is important to kind of gauge where it is, how fast it's growing, and what the kind of suspicion is, if it could be something else, on whether or not we need to mess with these.
Gotcha.
So that's my thing usually, is I do like to poke them. I like to think about where they're located before I really make kind of a plan. Some fatty tumors can get enormous, and I've seen them under the armpits cause problems where dogs can't walk, even though they're benign. They can get huge, like, basketball sized. So we do have to kind of keep that in mind. That location can be a problem for some pets.
Thank you, Diana, for your call today. Toll free, 1-866-405-8405.
All dogs should eat a pH-balanced alkaline diet. An alkaline diet reduces health risks and can also reduce scratching, shedding, and hot spots. So does this mean you need to check your dog's pH balance? No, because Canine Caviar has created the first and only alkaline dog food that is pH balanced. It also has the highest metabolized calories. What does this mean? Your dog needs to eat less. Get a healthier dog and save money with Canine Caviar products. Find them at your local pet supply store or online at caninecaviar.com.
Hi, Randy Travis here, and you're listening to Animal Radio.
This is an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. Fear Free takes the pet out of petrified and puts the treat into treatment. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
I'm Lori Brooks. Firefighter Dan Estrada is being called a hero after he took a casual stroll into the woods. Yeah, I thought it was just going to be like a hike with his buddy. And he comes back with a dog who is blind. And it turns out that it was this lab, a much-loved family dog, who had been missing for 8 days. And he has this dog, a big lab, slung over his shoulders. The dog is 12-year-old Sage, and he had been reported missing from his family home in San Lorenzo Valley, California. Now, the family had searched everywhere and done everything. They put up posters. They even hired a dog tracker. They loved this dog. They still had no clue what happened to him. So Dan, who was the firefighter, and his friends were out hiking through the redwoods when they saw Sage lying down by a river. But he wasn't moving, so they were really nervous. Well, the guys woke the dog up, but Sage couldn't move. Luckily, this guy Dan is a firefighter. Big guy, muscular. He slings the dog, Sage, across his shoulders and carries him through the woods and back into town like this. You can imagine how happy, I have goosebumps, his family was. They threw a big party in the neighborhood to celebrate the dog's return and offered Dan a $1,000 reward, which he turned down and suggested that the family donate the money to an animal charity.
That's a great story. I like that.
Yeah. Happy ending.
Well, this one, it's up to you. In 1952, the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association published a letter to the editor. It was written by a veterinarian in Chicago who had described this surgery that he had been doing in his practice on cats. It was the removal of their front claws that he wrote about. That's how really the declawing of cats began to spread. It was a surgery that was dreamed up by this one clinic in Chicago and then ended up being adopted by vets all across the country after they read about it. And now, more than 6 decades after that letter was published, a lot of cat owners still continue to have their cats declawed. And critics of the surgery say it amounts to a painful amputation that can lead to behavior problems in cats. And while supporters of declawing say it prevents some owners from euthanizing their scratch-happy cats. But we'll take a look at all of this here. Meantime, it was about 20 countries right now, and most of those are in Europe. They have all banned declawing, and so have 8 cities in California. And now in New Jersey, that debate has reached a statewide level since the General Assembly there has approved a bill that could add declawing a cat to the list of criminal animal cruelty offenses. Now, it is passed, if it is passed, by the state Senate. It would make New Jersey the first to impose a statewide declawing ban. And New York, too, by the way, is considering a similar law. But a veterinarian who is also the founder of what's called the PAW Project, which campaigns against declawing, says that the surgery is one of the most painful, routinely performed surgeries in all of veterinary medicine. Her group also educates about the domino effect of declawing, and that's where after the surgery, cats can develop difficulty moving, and then because of that, because, it's painful for them, they often will stop using the litter box due to the pain of trying to dig in the cat litter, so they stop using the litter box altogether. A declawed cat also cannot scratch to defend itself, and as a result may begin to bite. So it's just all of these other alternate behaviors that can develop. It's a vicious circle, and all of that can lead to cats being surrendered to shelters. So a little background on this. How often is declawing done these days? Well, the New Jersey Veterinary Medical Association says vets in that state perform an average of 9 declaw procedures every year. So just for New Jersey, with all of their veterinarians that belong to this association, that's more than 4,200 declaw surgeries. By the way, the group's executive director calls some declawing opponents, imagine this, animal rights activists, like it's a dirty word, explaining in his words, quote, some, meaning some people, view animals essentially not as animals, but as small people in furry coats. Yes, we do. That's pretty much how we all here at Animal Radio view our pets. They are family members with fur, and we will keep you posted on that story. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. The veterinarian isn't typically thought of as your pet's favorite place to go. With Fear Free, that all changes. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
Hi friends, this is Dr. Marty Becker, America's veterinarian. As you know, going to the vet can be a traumatic experience for your pet, but it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, vet visits can be something your pet looks forward to. Introducing Fear Free. When your veterinarian is fear-free certified, you will be assured your pet's vet visit is more free of fear, anxiety, and stress than ever before. Fear-free takes the pet out of petrified, and it puts the treat into treatment. To find a certified fear-free veterinarian near you, go to fearfreepets.com.
Well, this portion of Animal Radio is brought to you by Brilliant Pad. You don't need to rush home anymore to let the dog out. Introducing Brilliant Pad, the self-cleaning potty pad that automatically replaces a soil pad with a clean, fresh one. Learn more at BrilliantPad.com today, and thanks so much, Brilliant Pad, for underwriting Animal Radio. And let's go to Denise. Hi, Denise. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay, thank you. How's everybody there?
I think we're doing splendid. We're awesome here. What's going on?
I have a cat that I thought was a tortoiseshell male, and I was told that it was rare.
Tortoiseshell
and
male.
I was not aware of that. What is the determining factor as to how to tell if it's a tortoiseshell?
Well, so when we're talking about colors of cats, there's a lot of people know what a calico is, and calico is a tricolor. So you got usually like black, red, and white. A tortoiseshell is usually a two-color cat without white. So it could be red and black, brown and black, kind of that. Now, what's interesting is usually the red coat color is associated with females. So in most cases, a tortoiseshell cat or a calico cat is a female. The trait for that orange color is actually on the female X chromosome. So in order to have a male, and if we verified sex, and you've had your vet check out and make sure we are, in fact, a male versus female?
Yep.
And we've confirmed it.
He's got the equipment.
Okay, all right.
He's mostly brown with black striping and spotted mottled black, and a tiny bit of a lighter beige.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this is pretty rare to have a male that's a calico or a tortoiseshell. And estimates, although it's not really known for certain, it's about 1 in 3,000. And they're kind of neat, interesting little guys. You can actually specifically test their genetic background, and that can be done by a test through your veterinarian. We have to send it out to special labs. I think the closest one on my West Coast is we usually send to the vet school at UC Davis in California. But I'm sure on the East Coast there's a similar testing.
Denise, what difference will it make ultimately for you?
Well, I was thinking that if he is indeed a rare tortoiseshell or, whatever, then I would put him into shows or something of that nature.
I bet you wish, right? You're not alone. Yeah. People who have these kitties, they used to call these money cats because there's a belief that they're somehow rare, valuable, going to make you lots of money. The bad news is that they're usually sterile. So they're of no value to any breeding generations other than kind of being cool, quirky, and having kind of talk over at parties that you've got a kind of an unusual cat. It's really not going to make him more desired in any kind of circuit. So show or otherwise. So sorry. Okay. But some people say that these guys have, really cool. Some people say they have really cool personalities and they're really, just interesting cats. But you will want to get them neutered just for the normal, typical reasons. But yeah, for breeding sake, he's got blanks. So.
Wow.
Okay, well, he's a rescue. I trapped a feral to just try to get her neutered and stuff. And as soon as I trapped her, I saw that she was pregnant. And she had 5 kittens almost immediately after I trapped her. So I've got 5 of them.
They sound like they're cute little cuddly creatures.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Denise?
All right, thank you very much for all your help.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
John Elder from England was heartbroken when his prized termite-sniffing beagle was stolen. Someone stole Joni by breaking a small air vent and dragging her through, leaving some skin and fur. Elder talked to local media, and news of the lost termite dog reached neighboring towns. A motorist found Joni walking dazed and confused in the middle of the highway. She originally thought that Joni had been hit by a car because she was missing so much skin and hair. Her daughter read about the missing dog, and soon Elder and his missing hound were reunited. Joni's abductor hasn't been found, but I'd look for somebody who used to have termites. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Hey folks, this is Jackson Galaxy. You're listening to Animal Radio. Please do everyone a favor, spay or neuter your animals today.
We can't tell you why canine caviar is the only alkaline-based dog food, but we can tell you alkaline is proven to minimize the risk of renal failure and pancreatitis, reduce scratching, cellular degeneration, and disease, keeping your furry friend youthful and healthy longer. And those are the reasons we can fit into this short commercial. But by visiting caninecaviar.com, you'll see exactly what we do to make a better food for your dog. Try the one and only alkaline dog food risk-free. Canine Caviar.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets and our cats. They not only sometimes are smelly, but they can smell very well too. They can smell stuff that
they have a good sense of smell.
Good sense of smell, I guess, is what you. Dr. Marty Becker, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
You know, it's funny to talk about something that seems so basic, doesn't it?
It really does. But what you mean, the cat smelling or the cat's sense of smell?
Well, we used to have, if you will go back to the family farm in southern Idaho, grew up in potato country and had a small, farm and a ranch, and we had a cat named Dirty Bung, and it was he could never quite get the poop all the way out, so he could smell Dirty Bung before you could see him. But we had he was a barn cat, and you had wasn't quite an enema, but I don't know what was going on now as a veterinarian, but he needed a little assistance. But hadn't thought of Dirty Bung till today.
What are they feeding you? Everybody! Smelly cat, it's not your fault.
Yeah, but you're calling today to actually talk about the sense of smell. So I've got that all backward.
Oh, that's what I'm calling to talk about. No, there's some new studies out that I think are really fascinating. It was on catsandsquirrels.com, which I'd never even heard of that website before, but God, I love that name, catsandsquirrels.com. But there was talking about these cats getting euphoric, and it was looking at the olfactory enrichment for felines. So Mikkel Degato, I don't know if you've ever had her on the show, or Tony Buffington, this feline guru. We're looking at what you can do for enrichment activities with cats. And it was interesting, only 2/3 of cats responded to catnip, but 3/4 of the cats responded to silver-vine. And about 53% responded to honeysuckle. And 50%
silver-vine? What is silver-vine?
Silver-vine is a plant, so it's not in that catnip family. But I'd heard before we'd used it in the veterinary practices. We're working towards creating more enrichment and less fear, anxiety, and stress as part of fear-free. The people are saying you've got to get the stuff from Japan. You got to order it online and get the stuff sent from Japan. So, it's one of those things that comes in a little vial, and you're surprised it went through the mail. And I never tried it in the practice, and wow, these cats were definitely impacted quickly. So it's a plant that cats are attracted to. And honeysuckle, this is another one. A lot of honeysuckle comes in wood, and there's again something else. I'm not sure where all you buy it at, but we've been buying it on Amazon. It comes in these little slices. This particular kind of honeysuckle, you'll put it in the practice or at home, and the cats will get it and carry it around in their teeth and put it in their paws and rub against it and rub their cheek against it. It's really interesting with cats. They use that same vomal nasal organ where you see dogs with, like I come back working as a veterinarian, or Dr. Deb does, and they smell you and they do that great big inhale, and that scent blows up from their nostrils into this vomal nasal organ that's kind of like a turbocharger for scent and also smells pheromones. Well, cats have that same organ, but it's used more for housemates and sexual activity and things, and tracking prey.
Yeah, my cat does this thing where it goes and smells something, and then it'll open its mouth and its teeth will show. It's kind of weird. What is that?
Oh, that's it. That's that vomal nasal organ. It's what they're doing. It's in the roof of their mouth, and it blows that scent up there. But what happens is they do that thing with their teeth. They open it up, and it blows this smell up there by this vomal nasal organ. And it detects pheromones, which are these chemicals that convey information between individuals of the same species. So, but a few warnings too that I think is really worth talking about.
Okay.
Is we can't use these plug-ins and stuff for these cats. We have these we'll wear heavy perfumes, and I'm as guilty as anybody. I go to church and I can't sing the hymns, and I don't know scripture, but I wear a lot of cologne and hug all the little old ladies that are widows, and cats don't like that. And then
so when you say plug-ins, you mean like the Glade plug-in? You don't mean like the pheromone plugs in?
No, the Glade plug-ins,
okay.
The ones the Bath and Body Works, the Glade ones that have that.
Okay.
We used to have them all over our house. And we've, over probably 3 or 4 years ago, we took them all out because it was just it caused fear, anxiety, and stress of these cats.
Okay.
So we can use the things like silver-vine, like honeysuckle and stuff, to put some scent lures so the cat can track it around the house. So in their little mind, they're hunting and they're looking for these little treats that are high, literally. I found out through Fear Free we're looking for treats that cats really like, and they like Bonita fish flakes, they like whipped cream, they like marshmallows, they like anchovy paste, they like Vegemite, they like easy cheese, cheddar, and bacon. They also love green olives. This is the weirdest thing about 20% of cats. You put a green olive down there, and they just pounce on that thing like it's a mouse and just start gnawing on this olive. And, of course, that's great amusement for the cat owner. And some, of course, have found out because it fell off the table or a cat got something out of the salad.
Yeah, that happened. It fell right out of my martini, right onto the floor, and the cat went chasing it around.
Those people that have seen a cat, it responded to catnip stuff. Well, try some of this silver-vine. Try some of this honeysuckle. Try the valerian. And use it in a way, put it inside of a sock, a clean sock, and let them carry it around or do little scent trails around the house. And again, what this thing really shows is, those things, those heavy fragrances that we use, whether it's stuff you put in the vacuum cleaner to put into the carpet or the plug-ins we use, we got to be very careful of what we're doing to our animal friends.
Okay, I'm going to put all these tips over at animalradio.com. Dr. Marty Becker, if people want to learn more, what's the website?
I go to fearfreepets.com or drmartybecker.com.
Fearfreepets.com, great site. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Doctor, thank you so much for visiting with us today.
Thank you, friends.
We're going to head back to the phones, toll free for your calls, 1-866-405-8405.
I am the family dog, and it's that time of year again. The one where pet parents start looking for Fido-friendly hotels and destinations where Fido is welcome. Make no bones about it. Pets are part of the family, and we like to sniff out new places too, and we hate to be turned away, especially when we're on our best behavior. So we won't be left out in the cold. Be sure to pick up a copy of Fido-friendly magazine. To find the best hotels and destinations where Fido is always welcome, go online to FidoFriendly.com and subscribe today.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
This hour, John Salley will be joining us. The ladies are all very excited about this. Of course, a big buff NBA player, a very successful guy who's also a vegan and a kitten lover.
Gotta love it.
Oh, yeah.
What's there not to love?
So he's just around the corner right here on Animal Radio. I want to find out what it's like being a vegan. Of course, being a vegan is one step up from being a vegetarian. It's not only the beef and the meat. It is very tough. I have tried. I have not been successful. The whole vegan thing, just going to with no dairy and no cheese. No.
They say cheese is the hardest of all of that to quit.
I bet.
Really, all I need is bread and cheese to live. Just freshly baked bread and lots of cheese on top of it. Pizza. That's all I need to live. So we're going to find out. And, you know, of course, he's, as being an NBA player, you expend a lot of energy. Yeah. So I wonder what it's like not to have that in his diet. So we'll find out in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. First, let's see. What are we doing in the news at the bottom of the hour?
You know how sex offenders, there is a registry for those people, right?
Yeah, and then they have to go around the block and introduce themselves to the neighbors.
Well, I'm not sure about all that. I just know they have to register, and they've got to be.
I heard.
Yeah, how? Now there is a pet abuser registry that is being implemented, and we'll tell you about it.
A pet abuser registry. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on the way. Let's go to line 4 for Dr. Debbie right now. And we head across the country to Violet. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Where are you calling from today?
We are calling from California.
Oh, very good. Is that, who's that in the background? Who's that in the background?
That's Vegas. He came from Las Vegas, and now he's in here for daycare today.
Oh, okay.
So I have a daycare, which is playground.
So what's going on with your animal? I have Dr. Debbie right here.
Someone dropped off this little Chihuahua, and I've raised him now. And he's got a lot of little spots. Like, you know, I took him to get fixed, and he says he has an allergy. Well, I mean, yeah, they fixed them, but they didn't say what kind of allergy, because then they would have to do a skin thing. So I started giving him some kind of Flex Dog, which is a 3 fatty acid and an immune system. I'm seeing a little bit difference, but I don't know if that's what I could do for, like, doing his, I do the tea tree, but that's not working. So maybe a different type of shampoo.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about this guy. How old is he?
He's only 5 months old.
5-month-old, little chihui-hui. And what do these areas look like on his body?
Little, just like spots of red.
Okay. And is there hair loss in the areas?
It's just pink. And then it's just, he's got hair on there. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a special shampoo should I do or...
Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that allergies definitely can happen in young dogs. But the truth of the matter is that seasonal allergies, inhalant allergies, are not going to be present in a doggy this young. So things that are pollens, things that are blooming outside, it takes well over 1.5 years of exposure to those environmental allergens for a pet to develop an allergy. So we can almost kind of just ignore that whole possibility. But we can sometimes see food allergies in young dogs. Sometimes the youngest I've diagnosed it has been a 6-month-old puppy. But typically those pets will tend to be quite itchy. We have some pretty typical signs with that. In a Chihuahua puppy, oh golly, at 5 months old, I will tell you.
He's white. Yeah, I understand he's high maintenance.
Yeah. The first thing I honestly would have this boy evaluated for is to check him for mites. Demodectic mites, or what they call the red mange, is quite common.
When I took him in, and then they fixed them. So they said just to do the cortisone. But
well, and did it help?
It does help, yeah. But every time I take him over to my mom's yard, I think he's allergic to the grass. Because when he comes back, he's all red again.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you, going with the odds in a young pup of his age, even if we don't see mites on the first sampling, sometimes it does take multiple samplings. So I would just want to make sure we exhaust that. And now, this is something your vet can't do just by looking. They actually have to take some skin samples. They have to do that skin scraping, as we call it. Yeah. So if that's been done, then I'll feel more comfortable about that. But, okay, so say that test is negative for your little guy. Yes, there are definitely going to be some things we're going to look at doing. And we might start with some of those colloidal oatmeal shampoos, which can be very soothing for the skin. And then I would address going into a hypoallergenic diet. I'm not really familiar with some of the brand that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But to get into
no nothing.
Yeah, and grain isn't always the big problem. It's kind of a big fad in the human world with nutrition. But actually, some research studies actually have shown that some of the most common allergens in foods for dogs are things like beef, which is over 30% of the most common allergens in dogs. Dairy and wheat are followed after that. And actually, corn is pretty low on the list. It's lower down. So things when we talk about grains, yeah, it could be a grain problem, but in many cases, it could be a chicken, a beef, all those other ingredients.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So you would, I'd say, pick up that phone, talk to that vet, and say, what food would you recommend? In my office, if I'm treating a food allergy, I like to go to something in a young dog like a novel protein diet. Maybe it's going to be something that's just got 2 ingredients. It's going to have a carbohydrate and it's going to have a protein. My own dog is on a rabbit-based diet. Some dogs thrive really well on a fish-based diet. And the thing I'll tell you is with hypoallergenic diets, it's a little bit trickier than just looking on the label and saying, is this food have that ingredient or not? Because for hypoallergenic diets, the ideal way to do this is to manage it with very limited ingredients and to make sure that we're using things that are new and novel to the pet's experiences. So, I personally, as a veterinarian, I like to have some recommendations that I would throw your way. So chat with that veterinarian and make sure that we didn't have mites, and then we can talk about a little bit more about these diets. And fatty acids are great. I like that you mentioned the diet with fatty acids, but I prefer to bring them in a supplement form. So bring it in a pill, bring it in a liquid, add that in so that we can control the dose and the amount, and we know that it's going to be beneficial for your little guy. So Violet, I commend you. You've got your hands full with that whole crew of doggy daycare, and bless that little guy's heart, and I'm sure you're going to get him on the mend here soon. This is Dr. Debbie. If you have a question for the Dream Team, give us a call. We're waiting here at 1-866-405-8405.
This healthy serving of Animal Radio is brought to you by the grain-free Red Barn Naturals canned food for dogs and cats, always made in the USA with natural, functional ingredients to support your pet's optimal health. Learn more at redbarninc.com. And thanks so much, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio. And we're going to Amy. Hey, Amy, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Where are you calling from today?
Calling from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
What's going on?
Her thoughts are on a raw diet for your dog. I was just introduced to this concept by my groomer, and just wanted to see what your thoughts were.
Yeah. Now, is it for any particular reason, or
well, my dog has
intrigued?
had some issues with one ear, not both, being a little more red. He'll start to get a little bit of buildup in it. I was using some ointments and treating it that way, and that seemed to always take care of it. And so she just started talking about a raw diet for, different conditions. And
and I didn't catch, what kind of doggy you got?
I have a little Westie, a West Highland Terrier.
Oh, okay, beautiful. A lot of personality in those little guys.
Yes.
They're fun. But I'll have to say, hearing that piece of information is very different because, yes, they are just horrible with allergies and skin disease in general. And when I look at different breeds, I can pretty much count on if I see a Westie and it's coming for anything skin-related, we're going to have a very big allergy talk because they are just so prone to these problems. And it can be just something as simple as having ear infections or maybe an occasional rash or just tearing their skin out to the bottom of their skin. It just varies quite a bit. So as far as, I can't say that I necessarily embrace just a raw diet for this purpose. For me, I kind of go into this long spiel about food allergies. And for me, I don't treat that necessarily with raw diets. The way I treat that is by limiting the ingredients. And that might be either through a limited ingredient diet. I usually use the prepared commercial ones that are in the veterinary grade lines, or I'll use a hydrolyzed protein diet. Those are the ways that most veterinarians feel most comfortable with dealing with food allergies, and it's really based on the concepts of how pets respond to food allergens. So just because a food is raw doesn't mean they're not going to be allergic to it. So for me, I'd rather go to more the concept level of what the problem is. So if a pet's allergic to, say, chicken, obviously we're going to avoid that, but the problem is it's not easy to know what a dog is potentially allergic to. So we have to go on one of these elimination diets. The only other problem I'd have to say with, doing your own like raw diets, there's certainly the foodborne illness concern, as, even with commercial food, we're seeing with, some of the salmonella concerns in prepared foods. So that is an inherent concern I have with those. Also, just, some of the different digestive concerns that we have along with that, nutritional long-term effects with a home-prepared diet, a little bit variable. So I generally lean more towards the prepared commercial foods.
Okay. As far as allergies, could this be an allergic reaction, or response, even though it's just one ear? It's never
Absolutely. You got it. It could be one ear that just kind of chronically has a problem. And for some breeds, I would say ears and rears for me are number one symptoms of food allergy. So if we have an itchy butt, we have a lot of anal gland problems, or we have recurrent ear infections. Those are big reasons to address food allergies.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
This is Jane Lynch on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your animal. Spay or neuter. Let me say that again. You don't want to do both. Spay or neuter. Let me say it again. Can I do that?
You can do whatever you want.
Oh, God bless. I'm going to try it one more time. Hi, this is Jane Lynch on Animal Radio. Please spay or neuter your animal. I love it.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Red Barn canned food for cats and dogs is grain and gluten-free.
Hi, this is Paul Reiser, and you're listening to Animal Radio. Every minute you're here, you're not harming someone else. I don't know what that means. If it's usable, use it. Otherwise, cut it and get out.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
It's Animal Radio. This is where we celebrate the connection with our pets. If you're a crazy pet lover like we are, all of your pictures are of your pets and you do almost anything for your pets. And they probably sleep in bed and you probably wake up with a backache just because you wanted to accommodate them. If you're that kind of person, this is your show. And in just a couple of minutes, we'll head back to the phones for your calls for Dr. Debbie or Joey Villani. In fact, I believe you're screening calls right now. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And we have John Salley coming up in about 10, 15 minutes from now, right here on Animal Radio. Lori, what are you working on over there in the newsroom?
Well, we're all about rescue and saving animals and our pets and everything, and so many of us rescue them. So, who's to say what's a pet anymore these days? They're really family members, and there's this rescue that I found out about. These pets don't even have hair.
They're not dogs. They're not cats. Not flamingos.
They're hair.
No.
Geckos.
Gecko rescue. I can't say too much. Yeah, but I mean, it blew me away. Because they're pretty expensive.
Okay, well,
but it's just a unique way to help out some animals that need it.
Okay.
And I have had friends who have had these, And though you wouldn't think about it, they were very, very close with him.
Okay, I have no clue now, but I can't wait to hear. Toll free, 1-866-405-8405. Let's go to line 2 for Dr. Debbie. We have Jim on the phones. Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
Great. How about yourself?
Good. Where are you calling from today?
Camarillo, California.
Oh, lovely Camarillo. Used to be in my home. I love that place. It's like far enough out of the city. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful. Nice and comfortable today.
I bet it is. I have Dr. Debbie here. What's going on with your dog, cat, iguana, parrot, flamingo?
I don't have an iguana yet. It's a dog. It's a Lopso, and it's. I spoke with you guys a while ago about fleas, and I got rid of the fleas, but the fella's still itching, and I think it might be from the food, and I didn't know what kind of good food to give him that would get rid of the allergies or what have you for him.
Mm-hmm. Well, the trick to this when we're talking about food allergies is it's not as simple as just go into the grocery store and picking a different food off the shelf when it comes to food allergies. There's different ways that we can approach food allergies. The two big ways is we pick a diet, either picked one that would be in what we call the hydrolyzed diet family. The other is what we call the novel protein diet family. So there's different ways. Now I'll kind of briefly go over those. The hydrolyzed protein diet is similar to children that just can't take milk formula. So they basically take the milk proteins and they break them up into smaller pieces so that they can still take the milk and have formula, but their immune system doesn't react to it. So this is what they do with this type of dog food as well. So it's a way of kind of tricking their immune system. So say a dog is allergic to chicken, they can still eat a chicken-based protein if it's hydrolyzed. So it's kind of a sneaky way. But that's something you would have to see your veterinarian for. There are a couple hydrolyzed diets out on the market by different manufacturers. And those are by far one of the more direct ways to figure out and to capture those dogs that are potentially food allergic. Now, the other way that I mentioned is called novel protein diets. And that used to be the good old lamb and rice we used to think, decades ago was a great novel protein that dogs just hadn't seen it. But we know that isn't necessarily the case now, and it's actually everywhere. So novel protein diets can work, and after a couple of years, a dog can actually get sensitive to that protein. It's no longer new. They're used to it. So then we may have to switch to something different. And these diets are, and again, they're more than just going to the food at the grocery store and saying, I'm going to pick a venison-based diet now, because there's still different ingredients within those diets. So this too, you would want to work with your veterinarian to help pick a food. Some, different manufacturers, Purina, Royal Canin, Hills, Iams, a lot of these companies, they have diets that may be based in newer proteins, things like venison, kangaroo, duck, rabbit. So that might be the protein source that we're looking at. Whichever way we go, we need to make a commitment for a couple months with a diet and staying faithful to it, not giving treats, not giving human foods or other types of snacks around at that time. But that after about 8 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, if we see an overall improvement in the itching and the skin symptoms, then we know we're heading the right way and we found a dog that has food allergy. So, and it is very common. So, Lhasa apso, I would say, yeah, definitely. We see a lot of these guys that can have that. They may still also have other types of allergies, inhalant allergies as well. But if you can help control this one thing, you may go a long way to help your pet, prevent their itching problems down the road.
Can I ask you one more question? I got cats, right? You said inhalant allergies. Would the cat litter make him itch? Could he be allergic to cats?
He could be allergic to the cat litter. He could be dogs can be allergic to just about anything we can. And I've actually had dogs that we've done allergy testing on, and they test that they respond and they're allergic to cats, but they're also allergic to human dander. So what are you going to do? Holy cow. You might say, don't have a cat if your dog is allergic, but they can be allergic to you. So what are you going to do then?
Exactly. Thank you. All right, okay. Cool. What did you call that thing, that food?
Hydrolyzed. Hydrolyzed.
Okay, cool.
H-Y-D-R-O-lyzed. Yeah.
All right, I'll check with my vet and deal with that then.
Okay, well, good luck with that, and let us know how things turn out. We love to hear those follow-up calls. This is Dr. Debbie. Thank you so much for calling, Jim. We appreciate it, and give that baby a pat on the head.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Hi, Hi, this is Mayim Bialik on Animal Radio. Please adopt a pet.
Dogs gotta go potty, but sometimes work, traffic, or bad weather get in the way. Introducing Brilliant Pad, the self-cleaning potty pad that automatically replaces a soiled pad with a clean, fresh one. Brilliant Pad seals in waste, locks away odor, and is hands-off for weeks at a time. Then, disposal is fast, easy, and clean. Brilliant Pad gives you freedom and flexibility, so you don't have to rush home. You also spend less time cleaning and more time loving. Go to brilliantpad.com today.
This is an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. Fear Free takes the pet out of petrified and puts the treat into treatment. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
I'm Lori Brooks. Researchers at a Canadian veterinary college in Ontario are now set to embark on 3 years of studying drug-resistant bacteria. Doesn't that sound exciting? Hang on, because I'm going to tell you about this. Now, they will do this with fellow experts in the UK, Portugal, Germany, and France. And one of their projects will focus on the transfer of resistant bacteria between people and their pets. And they're saying it'll involve at least a few hundred dogs. They explain it like this. You have an animal that has an infection, so you treat it with an antibiotic. But what are the chances that resistance emerges in the dog? And then what are the chances that that resistance can be passed on to the pet owners from their dog? Mind-boggling, really. I mean, it's because we've abused antibiotics so much that now they're just looking at every single way that this can happen, and also how it affects pets as well. Now, people convicted of abusing animals would be barred from owning another pet, and this would be in Rhode Island under a new law being considered there in the state's General Assembly. It would create a statewide registry of animal abusers, barring animal shelters, pet stores, and even breeders from allowing the sale or adoption of an animal they have to somebody who is listed on that abuse registry. Under the proposal, anyone convicted or even pleading no contest to animal abuse would have to put themselves on that registry, and anyone who fails to register after they've, been convicted or pleaded no contest, and if they are then caught owning another pet, they would then be subject to up to 1 year in prison plus a $1,000 fine. So, seems like that's being taken pretty seriously now. What do they call those lists? A DNA list? Do not adopt? Okay, now anyway, there are all kinds of animal rescues out there. God knows we know that. And I just found a type of rescue that is new to me, so I wanted to share this one with you. Giving kudos and high fives to Jerry Myers in Southern California, who for the past 3 years has rescued nearly 3,000 koi.
Koi?
Fish. Koi from ponds all around San Diego County. He went from his own having one in-ground pond at his ranch, where he had 30 fish in there, to at one time, a few years later, he had 14 ponds. His electric bill soared from $300 to $1,100 a month.
Wow.
Can you believe that? So he had to install the solar panels. That helps to cut his power bills. And then he got really smart. He started a nonprofit, a 501c3. Then he found a company that donates up to 100 pounds of koi feed pellets every month. So that certainly helps. But Myers says there are many, many reasons that people give up their koi. Those can be, the fish can live up to like 100 years old. It's kind of like having a tortoise, you outlive your owner, or a bird like Joey has.
Yeah.
The cost for electricity becomes exorbitant. Water bills may become too expensive, or frequently the fish can spawn and overwhelm the pond with baby koi. But he says the most common reason is that fish can grow, these koi can grow from being 3 inches, because they're really expensive to buy them when they're large. Mm-hmm. So people buy them when they're small. So you get them at about 3 inches. In just 1 year, they grow to a foot long.
Wow.
So it's kind of like when you landscape your front yard and you should only have bought 6 bushes and you bought 10. You know what I mean? It's like pretty soon you're crowded. So Myers now has about 300 fish going on in 6 ponds on his property, but that is completely doable, he says. And his new rule is to arrange an adoptive home for rescue koi before he even collects them. I love it because this guy loves his fish. He says that way they don't have to endure the trauma of being moved twice. Oh. You can check it out. Their website is vagabondkoi.org.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
I just thought it was, everybody's got an animal niche, somewhere. And I just had never even fathomed a koi rescue. But good for him. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. The veterinarian isn't typically thought of as your pet's favorite place to go. With Fear Free, that all changes. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
Hi friends, this is Dr. Marty Becker, America's veterinarian. As you know, going to the vet can be a traumatic experience for your pet, but it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, vet visits can be something your pet looks forward to. Introducing Fear Free. When your veterinarian is Fear Free certified, you will be assured your pet's vet visit is more free of fear, anxiety, and stress than ever before. Fear Free takes the pet out of petrified and it puts the treat into treatment. To find a certified Fear Free veterinarian near you, go to fearfreepets.com.
Hello, Animal Radians. It's Robert Semro, your Pet World Insider, here with this week's Animal Radio list. 5 dangerous pet poisons found in most homes. Dangerous pet poisons can be found in any home on a daily basis. And we here at Animal Radio try and share our knowledge and care whenever we can. So let's take a minute or 3 to identify these common items found in most homes. Ready, household pet poison detectives? Let's identify a few of these dangers that can harm both dogs, cats, and other animals. And let's start with human and pet medications. Every year there are numerous horror stories about dogs, cats, ferrets, and others getting into serious health conditions by ingesting human and pet medications not meant for them. And it doesn't have to be prescription medications. It can be the simple over-the-counter medications. It should go without saying, but keep any and all medications out of the reach of your 2-legged and 4-legged children. Next, household cleaners. Just because they say it's natural or green does not mean it's safe for your pets. If you're looking at the label for guidance, then you need to make sure it says pet safe. And if you're uncertain, pick up the phone and call that company and they'll be happy to let you know. Next up is rodenticides and pesticides. Again, your dogs and cats can be overcome by curiosity, especially after a rat or mouse has nibbled on the poison from one of these, and it can lead to the accidental poisoning of your own pet. So be very vigilant of the traps, and at least in the case of dogs, try to place them where a dog can't reach them. Again, sprays and chemicals that can be used should state that they are pet safe or they shouldn't be used around your pets. And also make sure that these chemicals aren't finding their ways into areas that your pets like to visit or recreate in. Again, those will get absorbed into their paws and skin just by contact and then into their system by them doing self-grooming. One more very common pet poison potential is from foods and alcohol that we enjoy and that they can get easy access to. Alcohol is universally dangerous for our pets, so make sure you're not leaving this out wherever your pets can reach it. They don't know what it is, and the unique smells may make it all that much more enticing to them. And the same holds true for foods. Things like onions, candy, gum, grapes, raisins, and more can have severe consequences for your pets. So make sure that after you've enjoyed them, that there aren't any leftovers where your curious pet can get into them. Remember, our pets trust us implicitly, and they're prone to want to explore our worlds and what we're doing. So if you're eating and drinking it, they assume that they can do the same. And until we develop a pet poison warning system, the pets won't understand it's not safe for them. Share your ideas on how to remove and reduce household risks for our pets on our Animal Radio Facebook page.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets, toll-free at 1-866-405-8405, and we'll head back to those wacky phones in just a couple of minutes here at Animal Radio. But first, let's visit with John Salley. You know, he's the first NBA player to win 4 champions with 3 different franchises. That would be Detroit, Miami, and the Lakers. And he's also a vegan, and he's a kitten lover, believe that or not. And
my kind of guy.
Yeah, and he's joining us right now. In fact, are you there? How you doing?
How are you, man?
I'm doing okay. So you're really a vegan?
Yes, sir.
I cannot believe that.
I don't know why you're not.
Well, just look at the size of you. I mean, it seems like you'd have to eat meat to be such a big guy.
It's so funny because I look at the size of a cow, and they don't eat meat. I look at the size of a gorilla. They don't eat meat. The size of a hippopotamus, the size of a giraffe. Everybody wants to be as strong as the ox, and they forget the ox eats grass.
So how long have you been a vegetarian?
I've been a vegetarian since 91. I became a vegan in 2008.
Okay, and so the difference is a vegetarian is that you don't eat meat, and a vegan is that you don't eat milk or cheese or dairy?
Well, so a vegetarian supposed to only eat vegetables. So I call it a lying vegetarian. So when you drink milk or have eggs or have cheese, that's just liquid meat. So yeah, I all of a sudden tell people I don't partake in anything from an animal. They think it's crazy when people say you don't drink milk. I go, well, if it's from a human. And they go, or I go, well, why would you drink milk from an animal? And they go, well, it's cow milk. I said, once again, it's an animal. Why would you drink milk from an animal? And why are you drinking milk past the age of 3 anyway? That's not human. It just doesn't make sense to me. You wouldn't drink dog milk. Why would you drink cow milk?
We're hanging with John Salley. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to find out why he's hanging out with kittens on the Hallmark Channel.
Burger King presents Breakfast Stories.
So I got 2 Croissant sandwich for $5, and I gave him 1.
And I gave him a thank you.
Get 2 Croissant sandwiches for just $5. Now made with 100% butter for a soft, flaky croissant. Only at Burger King. Price and participation vary.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets, and we are hanging out with John Salley. Tell us what your diet will consist of today, for instance.
Oh, so I have this wonderful thing called Violife cheese, which is going to be everywhere. It's a vegan cheese, and the reason it's not, I call it vegan cheese, it's a non-dairy cheese.
Okay.
And because, dairy is no good for us, it's been proven. It causes heart attacks, high blood pressure. Causes, not even the part, like straight up says it. So I have vegetables. I have field roast. I'll have, like today, I had hemp tofu, which was different. It's made out of hemp as opposed to soy.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, so I had that with some wonderful rolls in a burrito wrap, and I ate that. I'm going to eat a whole bunch of vegetables later, a whole bunch of fruit. I'm going to drink a gallon of water. I just keep eating when I'm, everything that God has put on the earth growing, just like he says in the Bible.
Does it help your game?
Trees. Oh, my God, my game is so good. Look how you're buying into it. It's a good game.
Well, no, so do you have any animals at home, first of all?
I am an animal activist, and I work with PETA and Mercy for Animals and Farm Sanctuary. So I believe most animals should have that space. But I had literally my dog passed. And it was in Akita. And my daughter just moved out and took her cat Twizzler and her dog PJ. So right now we just feed the stray cats that come around my house and I guess the raccoons if they beat them to it.
But you feed them meat.
Well, it's so funny you say that. There's a thing called V-Dog. And and we literally ground up as much compost, and so the cats are hungry. So they eat it. So they eat it, and because they sit around or they can go through garbage cans in the neighborhood, so they eat what we ground up.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now tell me, you're doing this thing on the Hallmark Channel. You got to explain what it is. It's called Meow Madness. It's the Kitten Basketball Championship. Now, I got to tell you, occasionally I'll switch over to the Hallmark Channel during like the Super Bowl. They have the Puppy Bowl over there. And the Kitten Bowl. Uh-huh. I'll go back and forth. So I've seen this kind of programming before. What is it exactly?
Well, it comes on. It premieres on the Hallmark Channel on the same night as the championship game, the 3rd of April at 8 p.m. Pacific, 7 Central. And it's a trip because I sat down with one of the greatest voices in sports, Mary Carrillo.
Oh, okay.
And we literally read it as if it was, I'm watching UCLA. And it was the most fun you ever want to see. The rules, 5 points shot, the names we come up with. It's just a bunch of fun, and it literally makes you laugh and makes you go ah. And because of this, it's cool because like over 1,000 kittens and cats have been adopted. Now these cats, everybody's going to want one of these cats they see playing. Of course,
yeah.
But they're professionals, so they've already been adopted.
So the kittens are actually running around. They don't just sit down on the court. They're actually
running. They got the ball. They got the hoop. It is, I'm telling you, more entertaining than watching Brady just dismantle the Atlanta Falcons.
You heard it there.
It is that. It is that entertaining.
I guess it's for people that don't want to watch the championships that night, right?
Well, you can flip back and forth.
TV.
We'd rather you stay on the Hallmark Channel. I'm going to be watching the Hallmark Channel.
Have you seen any of the taping of the animals, and how do they make those animals do what they do?
Well, they do it all according to their own will.
Of course.
Okay.
Right? None of these atoms are forced to do anything or pushed to doing anything.
God, kittens are so funny. So, I mean, I'm sure you probably just throw a ball out there and they're having a great time.
Mm-hmm. It is a wonderful thing.
Well, very cool. I will check it out now. It's happening April 3rd, a couple of nights from now. That's Monday night. And it's on the Hallmark Channel. We'll put all the information. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific. And like I said, everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.com. John, thanks so much for hanging with us today.
Hey, I love you guys. Go vegan if you love animals.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
I'll talk to you. Bye.
He's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, he was.
Isn't he cool?
That makes me jealous because I wish I can. I tried to go vegan. I really didn't. I got through 4 months of it.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I did until I got a friend came up from Florida and started ordering shellfish, and I said, why not just go off it? And then that was it. 20 years ago, I think, 15 years ago. So
going vegan is not easy, and you know what? Even going vegetarian is not easy.
A vegetarian is easier than vegan.
Sure. Yeah. I got to ask, Lori, you're like us, right? You're not vegan, are you?
No, I really do try mostly to eat a plant-based diet,
sure.
But I really am just a veggie freak.
Yeah, I think that's the way we are, too. I don't think we go out of our way to eat meat. Judy, you don't go out of your way to eat meat.
No.
But occasionally you need a burger or something, right?
Yeah, occasionally I have a craving for a burger or steak.
Never beef, though.
Never beef.
Steak.
Oh, God.
No.
See, I have to
have
big
cow eyes.
Favorite.
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
I've got to have my fillets.
I salute John Salley, and boy,
he's amazing with it.
Okay, it's time for us to get on out of here. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, if you need your fix during the middle of the week, head on over to animalradio.pet or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. It's a great app to have along with you, especially if, like last week, there was 2 major brand recalls. And, of course, you were first to know on your Animal Radio app. So good reason to download it now. It's free. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have fun, you guys.
This is Animal Radio Network.